Good morning, everybody. This is Lisa Lashendro. I am one of the annuity sales directors on the here at IAMS Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Been in the business for a while. Joined the IAMS family back in October, and really excited to be here. Today, we are going to have a special guest. We've got Carrie Freeberg with Equitable. She is actually the director of product development. Um, cool thing about Carrie is she's the one that actually designs these products. So she's an actuary as well. I'm really lucky to be able to have her talk to us about this Denali Series, really dig into it, and kind of the person behind the scenes of designing these things. So with that, I'll switch my screen over to her in a little bit, and I see some familiar names here. So for those of you that I've spoken with before and that's already working with IAMS, welcome back. Love to see those familiar names. And for those that I don't recognize, great having you with us as well. I'm going to start out just giving you a little bit of information for those that are new and have not heard our spiel before, but go a little bit into IAMS family and what we're really about. We're obviously a IMO. We like to partner with those producers that want to really grow their life and annuity business. One of the things that we do, right out of the gate is we get you some new producer builder bonuses. So you can see we've got several levels, depending on what level you want to reach at or get yourself going to. But our first level, starts at 100,000. Your first 180 days after getting contracted with us, you hit any of these goals, and these are the perks that you get along with that. Um, for some folks, it's just cash. They just want to put cash back in their pocket. We like to also make sure that we're thinking outside the box. So if cash or something on these levels isn't your cup of tea or isn't really what would fit your need in growing your business, definitely let us know. We can always talk to Mr. Steve Murray. He loves new ideas, and he's a guy that thinks outside the box himself. So definitely communicate those interests with us. Um, and you like referrals, and guess what? So do we. So we're going to reward you for that as well. We've got our referral producer program, $50 when your referral has a contract with us, 100 or more when your referral does business. So we just keep upping the ante. We also have, thousands when we pay you, 20 basis points on business written by a referral thereafter. So we want to make sure we're rewarding you for bringing that business into us, because without you, it wouldn't have happened. Just keep that in mind as you're speaking with your colleagues, and we love to share that with you. Now, one of the biggest perks, I think, personally, working with IAMS, and I've worked with a lot of different carriers and such, but I can tell you, um, IAMS, our back office support is top notch, and you'll find that out when working with us. The folks that we have running new business are fantastic. They have relationships with all the carriers. They specialize with each carrier, so they know the ins and outs and getting that business processed and paid as fast as we can. They're not dragging their feet and communicating, what's going on with the case to our producers either. So it's just we want you guys out there doing what you do best, and that's selling. You don't need to be on the phone for 20 minutes with a carrier waiting for a status. Let us do that for you. So I think that's one of the best, extremely important item, things about IAMS that a lot of our top producers and such really, really appreciate. We also have our IAMS website. I encourage you all to go take a peek at this. It's got a lot of excellent sales tools. You can do term quotes on it. You can grab online forms, industry links, marketing material. We really try to make it, an easy website to follow, and I think it really is. So definitely encourage you to go and poke around there. Now, on that website, we also have Firelight. Firelight is an e-app program, one of the best in the industry, we think. Um, we have multiple carriers that are on or available on e-app. This probably isn't up to date. We're always adding new ones. Like I know we've got Ocean View on there and some other carriers, but this is, I encourage you all to use Firelight. Not to mention Firelight, we are offering for first piece of business on Firelight, we're offering a $50 Visa card. So a little encouragement there to use it. This helps simplify the process for not only you, but the client, making sure we have everything in good order when we submit it to the carrier. So if you have any questions on that and need walkthrough, call your marketer here. We'd be happy to do that for you. Speaking of marketing, we have our creative marketing solutions. These guys, Sean and Jacob, I mean, they've got Chance, they all have, extreme talent in helping you with either turnkey solutions, agency solutions, digital, social media, the whole bit. And if we can't help you, we're going to find someone that can. So definitely talk to your marketer about anything that you would like to maybe improve or work on when it comes to marketing solutions for your business and your practice. And, definitely make sure you're taking advantage of us on that as well. Now, a few years back, we decided that we needed to be in the wealth management side of things as well. So we've got Charles Jr. that is running that operation. The nice thing that I want to point out about this is for those of you that, are securities licensed or are not securities licensed, well, specifically not securities licensed, I should say, but you don't have to worry about handing that client off to somebody that is registered and worry about them taking the rest of the business as well. You still want to do what's right by your client, and if the market is where they need to be involved with, then you can let us handle that for you. Then down the road, if you decide to get registered, we'll be happy to transfer that client or that case or contract or whatever right back over to you. So this is just a nice way for you to still remain in control with your client base. Keep your client in your own backyard and fence off, your competitors, and coming in and trying to snag the rest of the fixed business as well. So keep that in mind. Let your marketer know or give our wealth team a jingle if you have any questions. Next, we have our Life and Annuity Academy. Unfortunately, due to this coronavirus, our last one was canceled. We do intend to keep these rolling. If you are interested in more information on one of our academies, I'm going to go ahead and raise a poll here. Just go ahead and answer yes or no, and we'll reach out to you and get you whatever material or answer any questions you might have. But really, this is a good opportunity to mingle with, with other folks like yourself. We're going to talk about, we usually, have a carrier that co-hosts with us. And let's see, got a little distracted. Sorry about that. A carrier that co-hosts with us. And, we take care of the whole bill. And that's flights, rentals, hotel, food, dinner, the whole bit. So if you're interested in more info, just let us know. All right, I'm going to keep moving on here and close it down. Next, I am going to turn it over to Miss Carrie. Carrie, are you ready for me?
I'm ready. I think this is always when we cross our fingers and hope
I
this,
know.
this switch goes well.
All right, if this works, we need to buy lottery tickets.
I know, right?
All right.
All right. Um, there we go. I think we did it. Do you see my slide all big?
I do, and I just want to mention one more thing, just for the sake of time, and I want to give Carrie as much time as she needs to really dig into this product with you guys. If you don't mind, I will follow up with all of you later on today or tomorrow morning. But if you have any questions on this, go ahead and jot those questions down, and then when I follow up with you, I will be able to answer those questions, or you can call your marketer here at IAMS. And with that said, Carrie, it's all yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You know, I always love getting to watch the intro that IAMS always goes through because holy cow, the support that they provide you guys is just tremendous. And that back office support, just so you all know, is getting rare and rare out there. And that work that they do behind the scenes really helps make sure that we get clean apps when they come into us, which means you guys get those apps issued quicker and paid quicker. So thank you so much to your team, you know, to continue to do that support. And I am just thrilled today to get to talk about Equitable and really focus on our brand new income product, income and accumulation product with Denali. Before we dig into Denali, I just wanted to take a minute to go through the history of Equitable Life and Casualty for those of you that are new to our company. We are fairly new to the annuity space, but we actually got started way back when in 1935 is when our company was founded. We are domiciled in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is why you see a lot of mountain and nature things with everything that we do. And we're actually Utah's oldest life insurance company. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to fast forward to 2017. Between 1935 and 2017, we were owned by really a private family. And during that time, Equitable was focused on like life and health products, med sup, short-term care, long-term care, et cetera. And then in 2017 is when a big change occurred, which led to the Equitable that you see today. And that's when we were purchased by Silac Incorporated. That's our holding company. It's a group of 20 private investors, essentially. And at that point, that's when they said that the future focus for Equitable would be on asset accumulation products, annuities. So that's when we got that charge. That's when our team got built, focused on the annuity side, and we got to work right away. In 2018, early 2018, is when we launched our MYGA line, which was our first set of products in the annuity space. I'm not going to talk about the MYGA today. One thing I want to mention is a big component of our annuity products. All of our annuity products is consistency. We want to make sure that we're always offering a consistently competitive product. And when we released our MYGA product, we were actually one of the very first carriers to have that magical 4% compound interest rate. Remember that from the last couple of years? And we didn't just offer it for a month or two. We actually held that 4% compound rate for 11 and a half months. Not 11 and a half days, 11 and a half weeks, 11 and a half months. And that really shows you the consistency that we try to provide. We quickly followed up that product release with our Teton line. And this is an indexed annuity purely focused on accumulation. Doesn't have any other distractions to it, just focused on accumulation. And we added to it an Atlas Global Index that we will talk about just a little bit today when we talk about Denali. In 2019 is also when we got our second upgrade by AM Best. I failed to mention in 2017, when we got new ownership and switched to annuities, AM Best gave us a B rating. Okay, and that really was because of everything we had done before, because we had been in long-term care, short-term care, and because we weren't in the annuity space yet. Well, within 1 year, they gave us our first upgrade to be with a positive outlook. And then the second year, they gave us our second upgrade to B+, which was tremendous. Typically, when you have new ownership of an insurance company, you don't get any upgrades for a couple of years. So we've gotten 2 within 2 years, and we had a great meeting with them just a couple of weeks ago as well. So we're optimistic about that in the future. We also were the recipient of a Wink's Trailblazer Award for our MYGA production. That MYGA with that 4% compound rate did awesome. And then we have not stopped there. So in 2020, we're in the process of rolling out our Denali indexed annuity line focused on accumulation and income. That's what we're talking about today. But then one last point before we jump in is we also, according to Wink, in the first quarter of 2020, we made it into the top 10 indexed annuity companies for independent agents, which we are just thrilled to be a part of that group. And that's really based on our Teton production. We haven't even gotten into the income space yet because that really comes with Denali. So that's a little history about us. With that, let's dig into Denali. So, here's where we do business as well. So we're in almost every state. We are currently working on starting to do business in Minnesota, and then New Jersey is going to come a couple years later, but we're nationwide. And now let's dig into Denali. So I'm going to start by kind of, as mentioned, I do product development. So what I like to do in these calls is really kind of give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes of why we design the products the way that we do. And hopefully that helps you understand the products a little bit more. So here's, excuse me, here's a picture of a typical income product. And this is what we looked at as we started working on income development. We said, well, let's see what's out there. And this upper green line is the roll-up account, okay? This is what you see in so many income products. It's such a super marketable benefit, right? There have been times we've had 7%, 8% compound roll-up rates generating this big green line that's used for calculating income. So we looked at that and we said, we can do that. But what we see, because we haven't had an income product yet, is on the suitability side, when people come over to us from some of these products, is even though as an industry, we've worked so hard at educating people on the difference between the income account and the account value, we see there's still confusion there, and it's not a liquid account, right? It's just really a part of a formula. So we looked at that and we said, okay, well, there's some things that come with that, but one of the main things that comes with a big income account is typically a lower account value. And on a lot of these products with the big roll-up rate, you tend to see lower caps, lower par rates. And in addition to that, you also tend to see fees that are drawing that account value down even more. By the way, this is an actual product on here. I just have, my calculations just assume the fixed account. So what's happening here is that income charge is actually bigger than the fixed rate. And so you see the account value declining, even though no withdrawals or anything are coming out of the product. So what we end up seeing is the more juice you put into the green line, the less you have left over for the account value. So you end up having these lopsided benefits. So we looked at that and we said, okay, we could do something like that, or is there a way that we can do retirement a little bit different and try to align the accounts and align the benefits instead of having something kind of lopsided? Because you know what? Retirement is a long time and it's getting longer. So we want to make sure that we have a product that's aligned so that no matter how your client needs to use the product, they're going to have a really good benefit available. So my favorite part of our development process is when we get to just take a step back and be super creative and just dream and think, if we could put anything in this product, what would we do? So first of all, we want to maintain competitive commissions. A big thing for us is wanting to keep strong premium bonuses. And I emphasize the premium because when you create an income product, oh my gosh, it's so easy to switch to an income bonus, okay? But we wanted to maintain all benefits, so premium bonus, maintain industry-leading accumulation. On top of that, add lifetime withdrawals, keep it simple with one account. And by doing that, we have real benefits. We don't just have a green line that's part of a formula. We have real benefits. It's just a question of which benefits your client going to use. And we love it that we don't have charges, that we don't have fees at Equitable. So we wanted to maintain that and obviously do all of this with our company and our great support staff and our great systems backing us up. So we went to work and I'm excited because I think we accomplished all of that. So with that, let's look at Denali. Oh, I don't know if my volume's playing, but. try to switch that real quick. It's okay. There we go. All right. So one thing we work really hard at Equitable is making sure our products are clean and simple. Oh my goodness, products are getting more and more complicated all the time. We want to make sure that we remove any distractions and make these products simple, easy for you all to explain and understand. And Denali is laser focused on retirement, which includes accumulation as well as competitive lifetime income, and continue to do this in a very, very consistent fashion. And by consistency, what I mean is no matter the economic environment, our promise to you all is that you're going to have a consistently competitive product, okay? Even as that economic environment changes, we'll have to change too, but we're going to maintain our competitiveness, but not just up front, every single policy year. And we do level option budget pricing, which if I have time, I'll get into a little bit later, but it makes sure that you're going to have consistent renewal rates each year to talk to your clients as well. All right, let's dig into it. Here's Denali. So with Denali, we have Denali, which is the kick butt accumulation product, and then we have Denali bonus. Each version has a 7-year, a 10-year, and a 14-year. The only difference between the two is if your client needs a premium bonus, their caps and par rates are a little bit lower, okay? Our 7-year products go all the way to age 90. Age 90. Our 10-year products go to age 85 and our 14-year to age 80. We allow additional premiums for the first year. Those additional premiums get full commission, full premium bonus. If you choose Denali bonus, they just get put into the fixed account until that first policy anniversary. So accumulation, Denali is powered by the S&P as well as our global bucket that's proprietary with Barclays called the Atlas 5 Index. We're going to jump into that a little bit. The big thing to keep in mind is we have lots of crediting strategies. They are all 1 year. You don't have to wait 2-3 years for your client to get an interest credit. All of our strategies are 1 year, and there are no fees associated with any of the crediting strategies. So I wanted to kind of share why we added the Atlas index to it, because it was a very intentional thing that we did. First of all, we love the S&P, okay, and a lot of our strategies are tied to the S&P. Here's just a sampling of companies that are listed on the S&P. Disney Plus helped me survive. I have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, helped me survive the stay-at-home orders and all of that. But these are all companies that we all know how they're doing. Our clients know how they're doing without even watching CNBC, right? You get a feel for how Starbucks is doing by how long that line is at the drive-through, etc. So it makes sense that the S&P is such a good fit for our clients because it's so transparent and well-known, and it is the benchmark of the US market, which is the world's largest economy. But as we look at that, what does that really mean? And when you look at the global economy, I should say pre-COVID, the US represented 24% of the global economy. 24%. Holy cow. That means that if we're just focused on the S&P, our clients are missing out on what's going on in 76% of the rest of the world. So that's where we said, you know what, we really want to complement the S&P by bringing in a global index, and that's where Atlas came in. And it is interesting because the second biggest economy, as you all probably are aware of, is China. And the economic projections as we continue to work through COVID is that the Chinese economy is actually going to represent a little bit more of the global economy than it currently does, and the US is going to come back a little bit. So, you know, that's another reason why global was so important to us. So with that, we added the Atlas Index, and I just love it. So here's the 11 different components of it. We still need to be in the US. So you have the S&P, but with Atlas, Atlas also can allocate to the US markets as well, but not just the S&P, it can allocate to NASDAQ. And you know what's been doing so well through the craziness of COVID is NASDAQ. So we get to allocate to NASDAQ when it makes sense. We're also in the German stock index. We're in the Eurozone. We're in Japan with the Nikkei. And my favorite is we have an emerging markets EFT. This is where we get to China, because guess what? China is considered an emerging market. India is an emerging market. South Africa is an emerging market, and this index can actually penetrate those markets as well. So those are the equities. But then built into Atlas is also bond options, okay? And here's what's really special about Atlas is we're not just in US bonds, we're in US, European, and Japanese bonds, and they're not short bonds. They're all 5 and 10-year bonds. So even when Atlas moves to bonds, it's moving into bonds where you can really get interest credits. Money is not sitting in a cash account, okay? For example, your money, your client's money is always working for them. And with these 11 different components, Atlas is actually now able to penetrate 90% of the global economy. Instead of 24, we're now at 90. So that's where we thought it was just such a great complement to what we've already been doing. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Here's a little video on Atlas as well. All right, I hope you guys could hear that. That's always one of the challenging things with the webinars, but we have that video. The music is very dramatic, so hopefully you heard it, but if not, we can send that out and afterwards. And also that video is available for client use as well if you think that would be helpful. So, okay, there's a little bit about the Atlas Index. Here are our actual rates on Denali. So this is the kick butt accumulation one, the biggest caps we have. One of the things I love about our products is if you think that this year is kind of a crazy year, okay, and you think maybe my client should just sit in the fixed account, you can do that at Equitable and get great fixed interest credits. Look at this on the 7-year, 2.5%, 3% on the 10-year, 3.25% on the 14-year. Great S&P caps getting all the way up to 6.5%. Annual point-to-point participation rate. This is one of my favorite strategies. Option pricing has been challenging with COVID because volatility has skyrocketed so much. It's starting to come down, but because the Denali accumulation engine is so strong, I'm so excited that we got back up into the 30 and even the 40% participation rate here. Beautiful monthly caps. For those of you that have been in the industry for a while, hopefully you remember when you can get a 3% monthly cap, that can just do some magic for your client. Great monthly average strategies. Again, remember, these are all unique strategies. All of our strategies at Equitable only ever have one adjustment. So don't let your mind play tricks on you. This is just a monthly average cap, nothing else to it. Okay, 100% par, no spread. Monthly average par, there's no cap or spread associated with it. And then down at the bottom, we have our 2 strategies tied to Atlas. And look at these. Again, remember, this is a 1 year. You could get a 110, 130, or 145 participation rate. And then down at the bottom, we have a very unique strategy. This is technically an annual point-to-point with a spread. But in typical spread, if the Atlas index were to go up 10 and you had a 2% spread, your client would get 8 typically, right? Not with Denali. Our engine is so big, you actually get a spread that's a good thing for your client that can boost their interest credit. And we actually call it a boost when that happens. So all of these in blue, if the Atlas index goes up 10 and you're in Denali 14, your client will get 10 plus 2, 12%. Very unique strategy, very strong strategy. We're going to look through the power of that in a little bit. All right, and then here's the bonus version. So same strategies, adjustments are just a little bit lower to pay for these premium bonuses up here. On the 7-year, we have premium bonuses all the way through age 90, very, very rare. They are banded, 0 through 80, it's 5, and then 81 to 90, it's 2.5. On the 10-year, we have a wonderful 7% bonus, and then it's 5%, 76 to 85. And on that 14-year, we have the magical 10% bonus through age 70, and then 71 to 80, it's 5%. All right, so one of the things I like to look at is how do all these strategies compare? So here I have Denali 14, and I just want to look at the last 10 years to see how the S&P and Atlas kind of look side by side, okay? So here in the first year, S&P got capped out. Monthly cap got a 0. That happens sometimes just because of how that index is, how that strategy is structured. Look at the Atlas indexes. Both would have been double digits. Now look at this. Year 2, the US economy went backwards. Atlas, because of how it works and how it can move, it knew to move away from US equities, and it moved to other parts of the world and into bonds. And in a year when the US economy went backwards, Atlas didn't just deliver a 2% or 3% credit, it delivered a double-digit credit. That is the power of global diversification right there. Now, year 3, the US economy bounced back a little bit. Atlas, again, was able to eke out some tremendous returns. Oh, year 4, we get to see the power of that 3% monthly cap. And when it hits, it's just a beautiful thing. Year 5, we kind of go back. They all do well. Atlas, again, does fantastic. Here's a year the whole world had a contraction. But because we have a boost strategy that could take a slight negative, add 2% to it, we eked out a positive return of $1.56. Now, it's not double digit like up in year 2, but imagine getting to meet with your client talking about how the whole world went backwards. We didn't even go in the fixed account, and we were still able to generate a positive credit for you. Here's a very flat year across the entire world, and S&P annual cap wins. Year 8, oh my gosh, monthly cap just goes crazy once again. Here's 1 year out of 10 where the whole world had a contraction, and thank goodness we were in an indexed annuity where our worst case was a 0. And then everything bounces back, and look at it, S&P and annual and Atlas, all do phenomenal. So when you look at our historicals, you see some tremendous historicals on the S&P with our products. Atlas historicals tend to look a little bit better, but it's for a very concrete reason. It's because of years like year 2, where Atlas doesn't have to just ride one country's economy. It can move in and out actually on a daily basis so that it can have potential for really great interest credits, even if one part of the world is going through a challenging time. All right, so, excuse me, so what's going on here? So we have, I haven't even gotten the income, okay? And we've already shown how Denali can be a tremendous accumulation product, but that's very different from what we typically see in other products. Typically, it's like income or accumulation. Well, we have both here with Denali, and not one at the expense of another. So how did we accomplish this? This is where I take you behind the scenes a little bit. So the big thing here is we just have one engine. Instead of having an income engine and an account value engine that's working against each other, if you push one throttle, the other one automatically brakes. We aligned them. We have one engine, and we put everything we can to power that engine. And as that engine goes, all of our benefits grow. And one of the ways we accomplish this is we removed unnecessary drag from the product. Okay, so one example is we do 5% freeze instead of 10%. And another day I can walk into that. But one of the reasons we do that is that it brings all of our caps up. And when we actually look at experience data, policyholder behavior, we actually see about less than 2% of policyholders actually take out free withdrawals, like 10% freeze, on an annual basis, on a systematic basis. Most clients, what we see for our behavior is that people take out chunky withdrawals, none for a few years, one for another year. So what we said is, okay, we're going to go ahead and do 5% free to bring everyone's caps up instead of doing 10% when very few people end up actually using it. Again, we do everything very, very consistent. And the last key decision point we had in development is, do we want to bring the pricing together by introducing a fee? Okay, and this, again, fees are very, very easy to introduce when you're talking about income, because there's so many products with fees out there, and they absolutely help with pricing. But our issue is that those fees bring down your client's account value. And when you do that, you're bringing down RMDs and free withdrawals and death benefits and everything. And what if your client never took income? What if they never take it and that fee dragged everything down? She said, you know what, we really don't want to do that unless we absolutely have to. So instead, we focused our attention on kind of tweaking the bonus recovery structure of this product. Bonus recovery is the same thing as the premium bonus vesting schedule or bonus recapture. They all mean the same thing. And we liked focusing on this because it only comes into play ever if your client does something where they get hit with a withdrawal charge. Well, how does that happen? Only if your client leaves early during the 7, 10, or 14-year period, or if they take out an excess withdrawal that's bigger than their free amount during that 7, 10, or 14-year period. That's it. If they don't do one of those two things, this never impacts them. And to do one of those two things, it's at their discretion. It's not a fee that they're having to deal with, okay? So what we did is we said that this bonus recovery, bonus recapture applies to anything in excess of the premiums they gave us. So for Denali, it applies to interest credits. And for Denali bonus, it applies to the premium bonus and interest credits. So let me show you how this looks. So here's an account value comparison on Denali, which is the green line, our other accumulation product that doesn't have income, Teton, and then that competitor product where I showed their account values decreasing because the fee's bigger than their fixed rate. All of these products, by the way, are just growing at their fixed account. So here we see Denali has the biggest fixed account. It has the biggest account value throughout. Teton's just a little bit lower than that. And then we have the big roll-up product with the lower account value down below. So now I'm going to switch and go from account value to cash value. So I'm going to toggle back and forth for a minute. So here you see Denali's account value is higher, but there's a period of time where its cash value is lower, okay, than Teton. And this is what that bonus recovery does. So it just depressed cash compared to Teton a little bit, and you literally can like shade in this white space here, and that is what is fueling the higher caps that we have on Denali and the free lifetime withdrawal benefit that we're going to talk about. But our cash value isn't any lower than what these other products are doing. In fact, it's higher most of the time. And then once we get through that withdrawal charge period, that cash value shoots up, and it is very, very, very strong. So that's how all that works. Now, here's the income associated with Denali. So sorry, you guys, I have a little tickle in my throat today. All right, so here we go. We've got accumulation, check, right? Great death benefits, great RMDs, great free withdrawals. In addition, we now have lifetime withdrawals with the Denali line. The big thing here, we have everything on one account. It's just on the account value. However your client allocates between those strategies, whatever interest credit they get, that determines their income growth for that year, okay? The wonderful thing about this is we have this tremendous accumulation potential. We now have income, but you don't have all the mess and confusion to talk about with an income account. You don't need to worry about what is the current roll-up rate and then what's the minimum roll-up rate. When does it switch to that minimum roll-up rate? What's the multiplier? What's the term? Like, you don't have any of that. It's just account value. People need to be 50 to turn on income, and they have to wait 1 year. And here's something I'm going to show you in some case studies. We have a step up automatically built in. I know step ups have been around forever. You probably haven't talked about one for the last like 6 years or so because caps have been so low, they couldn't compete with the income account. Well, here with our product, you're going to see the power of income and accumulation aligned, and you're going to see actual step ups, meaningful step ups that occur, and there's no charge for this, okay? So just to make it very, very clear, the lifetime withdrawal amount, to do the calculation, it's just account value times the client's current lifetime withdrawal percentage. That's it, okay? Here are those percentages, very competitive percentages. Again, you can turn income on as early as age 50, you get 3.5. If your client waits till 60, they get 4.5. If they wait till 61, they get 4.6. It actually increases 10 basis points every year. For Denali bonus, because we have that premium bonus, those withdrawal rates are just 50 basis points lower, okay? So there's those. In addition to all of that, and again, for no charge, we have a wellness withdrawal benefit, an ADL benefit. If your client can't do 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, their lifetime withdrawal will increase for 5 years. If they're taking out single income, it's an income doubler. If they're taking out joint, only one has to qualify, and the income increases 50%. After those 5 years, they still have a lifetime withdrawal benefit. It reverts back to that lifetime withdrawal amount and continues for the rest of the 5 years. If they got a step up in there, step up still applies and all of that. One thing that's great about how this is all structured is even if your client's taking out a wellness withdrawal and their account value falls to 0 during the 5 years, we're still going to pay them that higher amount, okay? If their account value's fallen to 0 and they haven't turned on wellness, then it goes away, but once they have wellness, they get it, okay? So that's great. Another thing I'll mention about joint is you don't have to tell us upfront at issue if your client wants to take out joint lifetime withdrawals. You don't have to do that, okay? You tell us at the time of taking income if they want it to be single or joint. You also don't, if you have an IRA, okay? Just like if you had a pension, you can take out a joint income, lifetime income from a pension. If you have an IRA with us, then at the time of turning on income, again, you can tell us if you want it to be single or joint, okay? So it's very, very friendly. And again, you don't have to make those decisions up front. You can make the decision at the time of need when you're going to use that benefit. All right, so let's see. You can tell I'm excited about the product. Let's see how this sucker actually performs. So here I'm just going to turn on lifetime withdrawals. I'm going to use Denali 14. $100,000, 60-year-old, they're going to wait 10 years, okay? I'm going 80% into the monthly cap, just 20% going into Atlas with the 145%. Here we go. Here's our illustration software. Here you see up in the top right corner is the engine. I always like to point this out because this is the engine, okay? 816, we have accumulation product. We need to know what that engine is. The big thing, it's the real engine because we don't have any fees bringing it down. And that engine is based off of the last 10 years based on the allocation I picked. So here's the 10 years worth of interest credits. Our $100,000 at the end of 10 years would have grown to 219, more than double. That's account value, okay? Account value. It's not an income account, it's real, all right? That's what the client's death benefit would be. That's what RMDs would be based off of. And it's also what the lifetime withdrawals is based off of. So year 11, we turn on lifetime income. Our client will get $12,047. If they can't do their ADLs, they get $24,000. Let me go back for a second. Remember this 219. Remember I said that we have step ups? If our account value after turning on income ever exceeds that 219, your client's going to get a step up. Now you're probably thinking that's not going to happen. Once we turn on income carry, the account value goes down. Well, let's see. All right, here we go. We take out 4 years worth of income. But guess what, you guys? We have an accumulation product here. And our account value went from 219 up to 243. What happens? We get a step up, and it's not just a few bucks. It goes from 12,047 up to 13,377, and it keeps going. Here you see the next year. I don't have this all blown up, but if you go the next year, 14,000 keeps going. At age 90, our income would have stepped up all the way to 17,000. Our account value's gone up this whole time. It is now at 327. Remember, they just gave us $100,000. Their account value is now at 327. They have received almost $300,000 in income. And on every one of our illustrations, we show this column way over on the right called total benefit, okay? And what this is it is the account value plus any income received. So what this is saying is at age 90, the total benefit to your client from Denali 14 would be a little over $620,000. They received a portion as income, and the remaining portion is left in their account value, okay? All right, so here we saw we have income and accumulation, not one or the other. Now let's make this a little bit more complicated, okay? Can we do multiple withdrawal streams? Yes, our illustration software is so flexible. You can turn on income, turn it off, do all sorts of things with it. I'm gonna just walk through what if someone takes RMDs for a few years and then turns on lifetime withdrawals. So here we have the same engine. RMDs start at 72, 88.27. Now at age 75 is when they decide they want to start turning on income. Their account value has grown to 287. At this point, they turn on income 17,223. They get that. They get some step ups in there. Account value continues to grow to 338. They've received $314,000 of income. Total benefits 653. You get the point, okay? It's not one or the other with Denali. You get income and accumulation, not at the expense of each other. They work together, and what's good for one is good for the other, okay? And again, what this means, like this 338 in here, this represents flexibility for your client, okay? This is where I hope I come out with another super cool product, you know, to follow up Denali. And if you have a strong account value, you can go to some of those other products, right? You might not want to because you're getting such great accumulation here. It represents flexibility because, again, retirement is hopefully a long time. It's getting longer and longer all the time. So we need a flexible product that can change and pivot with your client as their needs change, right? They maybe thought they were going to turn on lifetime withdrawals. Maybe they end up not needing to. Let's make sure we have a well-rounded product that can help them as their needs change. And that's what we're trying to do here. All right, so the last thing, this will just take 1 minute, is I just wanted to show you how nimble Atlas is. I've kind of mentioned this a little bit, but we have such an interesting situation from February, March, and April with how volatile everything was and how we've been in such an unprecedented period of time. So what we're going to look at is how Atlas changed during COVID, okay? So we're actually going to walk through week by week changes that Atlas made. So here we're going to start with February 21st. I think of this as the calm before the storm, okay? We knew COVID was here. We knew it was impacting China, Asia. But what the financial news people were wondering is the virus going to mostly stay in Asia? And if so, could the US economy, for example, continue to grow, okay? So this is how Atlas was allocated. It was in China a little bit Japan, Europe, US. And it was a pretty good mix between equities and bonds. A lot was in equities. At this point in time, the S&P was up a little over 3. Atlas was up just a little bit more. Now we're just going to move forward 1 week. That's it, okay? And at this point, we knew now that COVID was going to expand beyond the borders of Asia. We had the first deaths outside Asia, and the US economy started to prepare. So we all know we have a global economy, That doesn't mean everything happens at the same time everywhere. So literally in 1 week, Atlas pulled out of China. It decreased exposure to Japan. It cut back from Europe quite a bit, and it went hot and heavy into the US economy, and also started moving into bonds. Good timing. The S&P, the equities in the US economy were now down 8%. Atlas still up year to date, 92 basis points. All right. 1 more week. I was traveling this week. Things were getting crazy traveling. We were, oh my gosh, the news alerts. I think maybe this was when we were getting news about the NBA shutting down and all of that stuff. Okay, we're starting to get travel restrictions. More and more things are happening. Again, within 1 week, Atlas moves away from Japan even more, away from Europe even more, and even more into the US, and now really into US bonds. Look at this. S&P's down 8. Atlas went up for the week, all the way up to 221 for year to date. 1 more week. The big thing with this week is now the US economy is getting hit hard, but we have a glimmer of hope in that we're starting to think that China has had the worst of it at this point, and they are actually sharing plans for how they're going to reopen their economy. So again, within 1 week, we actually moved back a little bit into China, just a little bit. It's still showing up as 0, but it's not actually 0. More into Japan, more into Europe, and away from the US economy. Again, good timing. This week, the S&P is now down 16% year to date. Atlas did switch negative, but just a slight negative. And guess what we have? We have boosts that can overcome that negative, okay? So you see Atlas is very, very nimble, very active behind the scenes. And this is real, you guys. This is a live index during this period of time. This is how it's been moving. And to give you some perspective, Atlas is making these changes every single day. The S&P, it rebalances, but it rebalances quarterly. So if they didn't rebalance in April, they have to wait until July to do it again. Meanwhile, Atlas has been making all of these little adjustments behind the scenes all the way throughout. So now let's fast forward to last Friday. Here we go. Atlas is all in on the US, and you know what? It's really our bonds. Our bonds have been performing well, and NASDAQ is where it is allocated. S&P is still down year to date, a little over 1%. Atlas is up 335. But what I think is actually the most interesting is let's look at 1 year performance. Let's look at 7/10/2019 versus 7/10/2020, okay? Because that determines if your client's getting any interest credits or not. Great news, S&P year over year is up 6%. Atlas is up 5.5%, but again, we have 145% par rates on it. So Atlas credits are 7% or higher in what feels like kind of a blah year. You know, with the S&P and with Atlas, we're still able to generate good credits for our clients. And the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is I did mention, you know, we started Teton a year ago, right? Well, we're actually getting a credit interest to people now. We've hit our first anniversaries, and I just want to show you we're doing what we're saying. We're not smoke and mirrors here at Equitable. So this shows for our very first policies upon their anniversary, the S&P was up 13, Atlas was up a little over 5. Here's the actual interest credits those clients got on Teton Bonus 14, which is our #1 seller for Teton. Look at this. Again, in kind of a blah year, we're crediting 6.5% interest. And Atlas, we introduced Atlas in December, so clients didn't have it. If they had, they'd be getting almost 7% credits. And if you move to Teton 14, our biggest cap, look at this. We're actually pushing 8% interest credits. And those are the real deal. There's no fees dragging those down. Those are the real credits that people are getting. And with that, I'm done. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome, Carrie. As always, your presentations are on point. I love how you break down the Atlas and the video. You guys ought to, I'll definitely get that video out to you all because it is very powerful, and I think powerful for the clients to see as well. With that, I'm going to run another poll here. If you would like more additional information on this product, please go ahead and select yes or no. I'll be sure to personally email you brochures, copy of this webinar, if you want to take a look at that again, that video again, or if you really want to dig deeper, we can always set up a call with Carrie as well. So just give another minute here. That video always gives me goosebumps, Carrie, with the sound
No,
up.
it makes me like want to go on a fast run or something.
I
Like,
know, right? I know. Awesome. Well, looks like we've all answered the poll. I appreciate that. I'm going to do one more poll. Earlier in this webinar, I talked a little bit about our IAMS wealth management team. If you would like to learn more about that, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll for that, and I'll have one of those guys reach out to you. While you guys are answering that, I want to thank everybody again for attending. We have a really nice turnout today. This is a great product in the industry. As we know, those fees can really destroy the accumulation aspect, and for Equitable to come out with a product like this is fantastic. So I like the simplicity of it. Um, and the accumulation plus a free income rider, that's an easy conversation to have with those folks that aren't sure if they're going to need income or not. So again, Carrie, you did a phenomenal job breaking that all down and showing the value there. With that in mind, I'm going to close this thing out. If you guys have any other questions, reach out to me, Lisa Lashendro, or your marketer that you work with here. We are always here to help you guys grow and make sure you have a good understanding of what you need to sell to your clients, and that's our job. That's what we do here at IAMS, and the IAMS family is partner with our guys, so guys and gals, sorry. With that, I hope everybody has a great rest of the week and a good weekend coming up, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, Carrie.
thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.